You can believe this. This is actually, I can't even believe this data. It's going to take more than 200 years to close the gender pay gap. That's according to the World Economic Forum. The new report out this month found that women represented fewer than 50% of leaders in industries like finance, manufacturing, and IT. And joining us right now to talk about these dismal numbers and what we're going to do about it, Beth Mooney, CEO of KeyCorp. When she took the helm, she became the first female chief executive of a top 20 U.S. bank. And Janice Ellig is also here, CEO of the Ellig Group. They are both in town for a conference that's hosted by the Women's Forum of New York that I'm going to be part of later today. You're going to be on my panel, I think. Looking forward to it. And we're excited to do that. But it's really remarkable to actually look, some of the numbers reflecting that even in 2017, the gender gap has actually widened. It's not gotten better, and given all the conversations we've had around this table and so many more over the past decade, if not longer, what's happening? I'll go to you first.
Well, the World Economic Forum report did indeed indicate it's a global report, but I think what's really important and that we're here to talk about today is what CEOs, board leadership, and others can do to be more constructively impatient and make conscious choices that really accelerate diversity in the boardroom, diversity in the C-suite, and diversity in the ranks of our company. So I think we're here not only to celebrate progress, but to be, I call it, constructively impatient.
But so to be constructively impatient, men occupy 80% of all S&P 500 board seats. Only 17 S&P 500 companies have 40% or more women on their boards. How do you fix it? What do you do?
So you have to fill every other opening with a woman for the next 10 years. And then you will get to parity by 2025. And that's why we are celebrating today 375 companies that have 25% or more women on their boards. But we only have 43 companies that have 40%. So companies have to be very intentional.
But let me ask you, do you change the criteria for the board member? And the reason I ask is, in the old days, people wanted to have either CEOs or former CEOs on their board, and ostensibly of big publicly traded companies. If so few women are currently CEOs of publicly traded companies, it seems to me you have to really sort of think a little bit outside the box and very differently, in fact, about the sort of backgrounds.
It's a chicken and egg problem, right? You can't put women on the board if they haven't been in these positions. They're not going to be in these positions if
and dare I say, some people would argue, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, then you're getting into a whole question about experience and what that experience is, right?
Well, broadly, if you look at the boardroom, it's not all sitting CEOs. So as a practical matter, the skills matrix really do look at business leaders with experience and capabilities in many different areas other than sitting CEO sort of leadership. It does help bias. I think that's one of the things the reports do show. But I don't think you're outside the box or lowering the bar. I think you're just broadening the lens and getting more competent people by putting a gender lens on it.
Here's what I'll say, though. Because there are so few women in some of these positions of power, I've had one of them complain to me, I always get invited to these conferences because I'm the token woman in this industry who is the CEO for these things. How do you kind of move beyond that? How do you get more women who are in positions around that?
So you open the aperture, the lens, in terms of, so I do executive search, and there are many women out there, but the key is CEO sponsorship. Board directors and chairs have to sponsor women. There are many women who have the qualifications, but they're not necessarily CEOs. But they're in the C-suite. They're running companies. They're in academia. They have key skills in science and what have you, in cybersecurity, international, who can absolutely be
We just don't know about them.
But search people do, board directors do, CEOs do, so you have to go out there and look into new pools of candidates. You have to open the aperture.
So, but then when you say you have to fill virtually every seat to get there,
no, every other seat.
Every other seat.
Right.
My question then becomes, you're sitting there with a pile of either applicants or potential candidates, let's say, for a role on a board. Should you be selecting based on gender?
You should be selecting based on experience. And
oftentimes, but hold on. So this is interesting because you just said the word experience is different than talent. So I know
and potential.
And potential. I know a huge number of women who have remarkable talent and potential, but you could argue that in certain cases, just given the numbers, it's hard to say that we have enough women who, at the same type of experiential level of some of these male CEOs. I'm not saying the male CEOs are better at all. I'm just saying that you're in this sort of, again, back to what Becky said, this sort of very odd chicken and egg dilemma.
Yes, I would suggest to you that when I'm talking to the CEOs and when you hear them in the panels today, they will say to you that their pipeline is there, the talent is there. You just have to look for them in new pools. And when you talk to the CEOs on the panel today, that's what they will say. They are out there. You just have to look for them.
And if I could weigh in, KeyCorp, 40% of our board is diverse. And so the pipelines are there, and I just think you need to be very conscious when you're looking at the skill sets to bring in people with different backgrounds other than just a sitting CEO. And the talent is rich and it's out there. You just need to be purposeful. When you say 40% diverse,
let me ask, the one final question is, we're talking about women right now, but how do you think about diversity even more broadly than just male, female?
I think diversity comes in many forms, and when I say diverse, it includes people of color as well as gender. And as I look at our company, 40% of our leadership in our company is diverse. So I think the more you look at gender, background, experiences, thought, all that is statistically what I think helps drive a more inclusive culture and better decision making.
Okay.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.